Hello everyone, I am Shadow.ExE, and I'm here to bring you all a very special video. And this video I will be doing is a reading video, which means basically it's a narration video. I will be reading a story that is based off of me, and yes, the story is called Shadow.EXE, EXE, and it is by Creepy Vision. Basically, Creepy Vision is supposed to be a new gen of creepypasta, but I should inform you all that Creepy Vision and creepypasta are not the same thing. They have similar qualities and similar features in their literature and writing, but I should inform you they are different, but not totally different, but different productions or bases or whatever you call them. Anyway, let's begin. And I should inform you all I can have bad speech. And yeah, I just want to let you all know that, so you wouldn't think I was actually just like purposely mixing up the words. And I have bad sight with words, so please, it's my fault if this happened, if I read it wrong, alright? Anyway, let's begin the story. It was a brightful day. Joseph, a 15-year-old boy, had awoken from his sleep. His parents were out at work. Joseph was alone in his house. He then got dressed and eaten some breakfast, and as always, he would play a Sonic game. Joseph was a Sonic fan. He loved everything about the game's shows and series. He had just beaten a classic game. Then he got up from his couch and went to his front door, and what lay before him was an envelope that seemed like it was meant for a disc. Joseph picked it up and looked at it, and noticed that the envelope had no address nor any signature. He then shut his door and went inside his home, and sat on the couch staring at the strange blank envelope. He then opened it and saw what appeared to be a computer disk. Joseph pulled out the disk and saw something written on it saying EXE2. Joseph was wondering why it was only named EXE2. He then went to his computer and inserted the disk into the disk drive. And then what looked like a Sonic game title screen appeared, but it had shadow on it this time. Joseph then saw that this was a Sonic game. He then hit enter. Then he heard a demented laugh and a flash of a familiar face. It then brought him to a character select, but he saw that the title what looked like it was written in blood. He saw only 3 characters. Joseph was suspicious at why it was written in blood. Then he saw only 3 characters to select from. These were characters he had never saw before, nor heard of their names. Their names were Kyle, Cody, and Ice Freeze. He tried selecting a character, but the only character he could play as that the game allowed him to play as was Kyle. He then thought maybe he had to unlock the other 2. So he then clicked on Kyle. Then Joseph was brought to a zone called Opalist. He wondered why it was only named Opalist. Then once the game started, he saw that the music was playing dementedly backwards and demonic. As he started playing, he saw that there was handwriting on the background. Joseph then saw that the handwriting was also written in blood, and all it said was "Come play with me," and ready for round 3. Then he saw a lifelike corpse in the game. He walked closer to it, and as he had gotten even closer, the screen went black. Then it came back on, and Shadow was behind him, with his eyes shut and arms crossed as always. Joseph started to ease a bit. Then he walked towards Shadow, but then Shadow's eyes opened. And Joseph saw that Shadow's eyes were pitch black and had bright, blood-red pupils, and blood pouring from Shadow's eyes. Then the screen went black, showing something saying, "Come play with me." Then there was a zone that was brought to called Hide and Die. The zone was very twisted and had evil scenery. All he could do in this zone is run, so he ran and ran, but then Shadow started sprinting towards him. Then Shadow just vanished. Joseph thought he would win, but then Shadow appeared in front of him. When he ran into Shadow, the screen went black and a loud, blood-curdling scream was heard in the background. Then the screen came back, and what Joseph saw was an image he would never forget. He saw Kyle hung with his own intestines, and ripped open, all his guts and insides dangling, and some dangling and touching the ground. Something written with Kyle's own blood was something written saying, "Game over." Joseph was in terror and horror. He couldn't believe what he saw. Then it took him back to the character select. Then the character that was next was Cody. He clicked on Cody, then that same lamented laugh appeared. And then what the next zone was named Let's Play. The zone looked like some hellistic version of a Green Hill zone. And all Joseph saw was blood everywhere and dead animals hung with their own guts, and blood raining from the sky. He then started playing. As he was playing, he kept seeing something saying, "I'll find you and never escape." And can never escape. As he was running, he then saw Shadow in front of him. At the split second, Joseph immediately turned around and ran and ran and ran. He kept seeing Shadow appear in each part of the zone. Then when he was running, Shadow appeared right in front of Cody. Then the screen went black again, and an even more chilling scream was heard. When the screen came back, Joseph braced himself for what his eyes would see. Then he saw an even more chilling and horrible sight. Cody was ripped open and decapitated and stabbed with his own spine. His flesh was stretched out in different sections. Of the ground and pinned with a piercing pain of his bones. What was written next to Cody's body said, "Ready for round 3?" Then he was brought back to the character's choice screen. But it looked even more demented than the last character. Then the last character that was left was Ice Freeze. Then he slowly hesitantly clicked on Ice Freeze. The last zone was called Goodbye Forever. The zone was even more demented, as Joseph saw Kyle and Cody's bodies hanging and their heads mounted on 2 poles. As he got further and further into the zone, he then saw Shadow looking at blood-covered emerald. Shadow then spots him, then Joseph runs without hesitation. As he was running, the zone started getting darker and more bloody and demonic. As he got further and further into the zone, as he was getting farther and farther, he heard a horrible nightmareful scream. He heard horrible nightmareful screams. Then he was brought to a blank white room, and there was a door that said "Way Out." Then when he got towards it, but then Shadow appeared behind him, and the screen went black, and the screen said goodbye forever. And the computer turned off, and Joseph's lights, power, all shut off, and turned, and it went, and all turned off, and it was pitch black. You could hear was a scream, then silence. When his parents got home, they found Joseph dead, with his eyes wide and ripped open, and with something carved in his chest saying goodbye forever. And that was the tale of Shadow.ExE. And I do apologize for my bad language and literature. It's just that the writing was very close, written together, which will be edited for all of you to see. It will be more spaceful, more easy to read, and hopefully I'll make another video of the same story, but a little bit more easier for you to hear me. Anyway, I am Shadow.ExE. I hope you enjoyed this video. But this won't be the last.